All right, so here's the official start to the build series of this rig behind me. So this rig belongs to Jeff Bangharts out of Omaha, Nebraska. He bought, which is a 90 Bronco 2 frame that was an abandoned project from somebody else. And that person had it kind of started and kind of mocked up with an idea in mind. Jeff bought it, got a great deal on it. A lot of quality parts and components already there. So I'm going to kind of do a brief description of what's to come, what the build's going to have on it, what's going to be, you know, what direction this truck's going in. So Jeff initially just wanted a capable off-road truck that can go on trails and off-road and stuff. But as we started talking and as we started planning, kind of before the truck even got here, which he trailered it here about 2 weeks ago now. So since he's dropped it off and now things have changed already again. So initially how he bought it, it was a project frame only. Has a matching set of full width axles, Dana 44 front, 9-inch rear, True Track front diff, ARB air locker in the rear, 513 gears. Front suspension was already set up using James Duff long arm solid axle kit. So that part's already kind of there, mocked up, existing. The rear, the guy previously started doing a 4-link setup, which is actually a double triangulated. So he's got a couple brackets made up, everything's kind of in place. He's got the links made. So once I move this over to the hoist and start kind of assembling where this guy left off, we'll see where we're at. Some people are going to hate this, some people are going to think it's cool. This is going to be running a LS LM7 with a 4L60E transmission out of a 2003 Chevy Silverado. Transfer case is a manual 231C, I believe, also out of a Silverado. So it's a manual T-case, no electronics, which is a plus. I did try to talk him into going with an Atlas. That's coming down the road. So whether you hate it or love it with an LS is kind of like, it's almost like the new go-to in almost any build. Rock crawlers, rock bouncers, lots and lots of the Jeep guys are doing it. They're plentiful, they're powerful out of the box, they're pretty inexpensive to buy, and you can bolt on power like crazy as well. So I think it's gonna be cool. I'm totally into it. I mean, real quick, you know, a Mustang motor, a 5.0, puts out like 225 horse, 300 torque. This LM7 out of a truck puts out 295 horse and 335 torque. So comparing side by side, the 5.3 LS is already this much more than a Ford 5.0, which is cool. So Jeff's the one who he put the body on. This body is actually an 84. It's super clean, and apparently there was like 162, I think he said, of this color combo ordered. It's a special order from Ford, I guess. I've never seen the color code before this one myself. So I want to get this video kind of kicked off, just a short description of what's coming, what's to come. A few things that have already changed. So he also picked up a high 9 center section for the 9-inch, which I think gains 5 or 6 inches of clearance on the rear drive shaft yoke. And that also has an ARB air locker in it too. So I just got to determine today which gears are actually in that high 9. It says 486 on the gear itself, but it was sold as a 456, so I got to figure that out. Then the front axle has to match the rear, obviously. A couple of things that have changed. It's going to be running RCVs now. It's not going to run the standard Dana 44 axles, which obviously they're fairly weak when you go up in tire size. It's going to be running a 37-inch tire on this truck. Plans on 39s, 40s down the road, but just they're very hard to find right now. And all the ones that are for sale that are used are just junk. So RCVs, it's going to have reed knuckles on it, high steer. I'm going to do up a custom track bar bracket incorporating Barnes 4-wheel drive outside of the frame track bar bracket to a Wild Horses lower axle side raised track bar bracket. It's the combination I've done on a couple of their builds before. So let's just do a quick peek of everything. So here is the parts table that we are accumulating. So reed knuckles, all brand new ball joints, high steer arm, Wild Horses lower track bar bracket, rear axle lower shock mount brackets, the upper Barnes 4-wheel drive French style brackets, steering components. We got GM 1-ton tie rod ends. Front's going to be on coils. These are the Deaver Superflex 2.5-inch coils. I've used those in my truck, and a couple of my buddies have used them in theirs. It gets the truck sitting down nice and low, and it's a ton of flex for that type of setup, and lots of droop. So here's the truck. I already took the axle out yesterday. I was going to start breaking this thing down, but there's the 9-inch, the low pinion 9-inch. There's the transfer case. Right now it is sitting on leaf springs and a stock 7.5 axle just to get it here. But like I said, the mounts there's some mounts already done on this truck. So we'll have to see how all that looks. Jeff put a 2-inch body lift on this, which I think is going to be perfect, given the amount of room here. The guy beforehand set up the motor mounts. The motor sits pretty nice. I think once the motor and transmission are actually tilted up more level, we'll have even more clearance. So anyway, so this is the project. This is the build series coming up. So I'm going to do videos on every step of the way of this thing. I think it's going to be super cool. It's going to have a lot of cool high-end components on it. We haven't discussed, well, we've discussed, but we're not sure on shocks yet. The rear is going to be coilovers regardless. And then the front is going to do a matched, like, bypass shock to match the valving of the coilovers. So stay tuned, subscribe. It's going to be a cool build. See you on the first episode coming up.